Everyone has that one contact whose feed went quiet years ago. Same profile picture since forever, a grid that just stops somewhere around 2022, like a museum nobody bothers to update. You've scrolled past it and felt a small pull of curiosity. What happened with them? And here's the explanation your brain reaches for first. They're insecure, they're hiding something, or their life just isn't interesting enough to show. Comfortable, tidy, and almost always wrong. Because the quietest feeds tend to belong to the people who understand the whole game best. That instinct, reading silence as a flaw, is exactly what we're taking apart today. The choice not to post isn't one thing. It runs on at least 5 separate psychological engines, and they don't all point the same direction. Some are quiet strength. At least one is quiet fear. Most people never bother to separate them. 5 mechanisms. Let's start with the one hiding in plain sight. 1. The low self-monitor. Watch certain people in a room and then online. It's the same person in both. No performance mode, no brighter version switched on for an audience. Psychologists call this self-monitoring, how much you adjust your image to fit whoever's watching. High self-monitors read the room and reshape themselves to match it. Low self-monitors barely feel the pull. For them, posting a curated photo isn't a temptation they resist, it's an impulse that never really arrives. So the empty grid you filed under withdrawal is often just wiring that never learned to play to the crowd. Refusing to perform is only half of it. The other half is what they take from the moment instead. 2. The reward that stays private. Think about the last genuinely good thing that happened to you. For a lot of people, the experience doesn't feel finished until it's posted and the reactions come in, moment and audience fused together. For the non-poster, that fusion never happened. The dinner was just the dinner. The trip was just the trip. This maps onto self-determination theory, which separates intrinsic motivation, doing something because the thing itself is rewarding, from extrinsic motivation, doing it for the response. Their reward loop closes on the inside. It doesn't need a single like to feel complete. So what you read as missing out is a person whose best moments were never waiting on your reaction to count. And once a moment stops needing an audience, the effort of building one starts to look like exactly that, effort. 3. Opting out of the maintenance. Every public image carries an upkeep cost, and you've watched people pay it. The reshoots, the caption typed and deleted and retyped, the quiet takedown when a post underperforms. Sociologist Irving Goffman called this impression management, the constant work of curating how others perceive you, like running a small, unpaid PR department for yourself. Some run it gladly. Others do the math and resign. Not posting for them isn't absence, it's declining a second job. So the blank profile isn't someone with nothing to present. It's someone who priced the performance and decided it wasn't worth the wage. But stop here and we're just flattering the group, which turns analysis into a horoscope. For some, the silence isn't a choice they're proud of. 4. The fear underneath the quiet. This one might land close to home. You took the photo. You liked it. You opened the app, started the upload. Then you pictured the specific faces of people scrolling past, and you closed it instead. That isn't privacy. That's fear of negative evaluation. The dread of being judged that psychologists have measured for decades, sharpened by the spotlight effect, our habit of wildly overestimating how much anyone else is watching and scoring us. For some people, an empty feed is simply the safest room in the house. And naming it isn't an insult. Wanting to dodge judgment just means you're built to care what people think. So sometimes the calm you envied is a person quietly managing the very fear you happen to post right through. Which points at the real question this behavior keeps circling. If it isn't always confidence and it isn't always fear, what is the quiet actually protecting? 5. Known over watched. Broadcasting your life to 500 loose acquaintances flattens it into something smooth and legible, a version polished enough for strangers. But there's a deep human drive, mapped by self-verification theory, to be perceived as who you actually are, rather than as a better-lit edit of it. For a lot of quiet posters, a wide audience and an accurate one feel like opposites. So they hand the real thing, the messy, unflattering, actually true thing, to one person in a text or a close friend's story of 4. So the absence you read as having no life is usually a person choosing to be known by a few over being watched by everyone. So here's the mirror, and it cuts both ways. If you're someone who posts, next time you photograph a moment before you've even finished living it, ask whether you're keeping it or asking a crowd to confirm it was real. And if you're someone who doesn't, next time you feel that clean, slightly superior calm about your quiet feed, ask one honest question. Is this peace, or is it fear wearing peace's clothes? Both answers are allowed. Most people never check which one they're living in. Because here's what the silence was hiding the whole time. The empty feed was never a smaller life. It's someone who learned that being watched and being known are two completely different things. So tell me in the comments which one you recognized. The low self-monitor who can't fake it, the person whose good moments don't need an audience, or the one who closed the app out of fear. Or tell me whose feed you've quietly been misreading for years. And if you like turning the people around you into something you can finally understand, subscribe. This is the channel that reads the behavior everyone else just judges.